What's going on, everybody? It's AG here. We are officially 2 weeks out from week 0 of the college football season. We've actually got a couple good matchups I want to talk about in week 0 before we get into a really good week 1. We'll preview that on another date, so be on the lookout for that. But week 0, let's go ahead and talk about it. Let me know your predictions down in the comment section. Week 0, 2 games, like I said, that I want to focus on. First off, we'll start with the first one. Iowa State and Kansas State, Saturday, August 23rd at 11 a.m. Central Time. This one is intriguing to me because, number one, you've got a Big 12 matchup in week 0. Doesn't always happen. It's been happening a little bit lately with these Ireland games. They like to have one of those. I think Florida State played somebody, maybe Georgia Tech or something last year. But these are the two teams that I think are the best two teams in the Big 12. You've got a matchup of teams that have a lot of experience returning in the backfield. These two teams right now, Iowa State and Kansas State, I personally have in the college football playoff. I thought BYU might be able to give them a little bit of a run, both these teams, but with what BYU had go on with the quarterback situation, probably not going to happen. So as far as what the spread is looking like right now, it looks like Kansas State's favored by 3.5. So that one, we'll see at the end as far as if I'll take that or not. But first off, let's talk about Iowa State. Last year, pull their schedule up here for you. Last year, pretty good year. Not bad. Only losses to Tech, Kansas, and Arizona State. Pretty solid. If they could have beat Tech and Kansas, they probably would have been in the playoff. But other than that, I mean, some solid wins here over Miami in the bowl game. That's kind of, you don't really acknowledge those now, but a win over Iowa is always a solid win. Return a lot of pieces. I think this is Matt Campbell's best team he has had. A lot of guys back. You've got 2 running backs that have won over 1,000 yards before. So that's really good as far as having that duality in the backfield. And also you've got that insurance in case somebody goes down. Quarterback-wise, Rocco Becht, pretty experienced. He's had a lot of games played. You can see here putting up some pretty solid numbers, close to 300 yards almost every game. Iowa State, though, I think this is Campbell's best team, and I think they've got a legitimate chance here to go undefeated. As for Kansas State, let's pull up their schedule last year. They've got a lot of pieces back, too. Chris Klieman has done a solid job there. Last year, lost to BYU, which is a good team that could have made the playoff. Arizona State, another team that could have made the playoff, or that did make the playoff, excuse me. Houston, that's a bad loss. Then you've got Iowa State, which they're playing right now. Good news is you've got Avery Johnson back. He is a do-it-all quarterback, can run the ball, can pass the ball. He's the reason basically Will Howard wound up at Ohio State because Avery Johnson took his job. But this game is one that I think really could go either way. Last year, we were looking at it. Iowa State beat Kansas State by 8, 29-21. Pretty good defensive game. It's not going to be a high-scoring affair, I don't think, especially in week 0 because, everybody's kind of filling each other out. You got to get in your own flow of your offense, your defense, stuff like that. But I'm going to go Iowa State, I think. I think Iowa State wins this one. Not because they won last year. That really doesn't matter to me right now because it's new teams. But I think Iowa State has a little more to offer as far of defensively. I think they're going to be a little better, and they've got those 2 running backs that are really going to help you out. I can remember their backup's name, but I can't remember their star's name. So let me go ahead and pull it up so I'm not bad-mouthing him. Carson Hansen, and the other one is Sama. That's the other one I'm thinking of, Abu Sama. But you've got a lot of guys back, like I said, and putting up good numbers. I think they're going to be able to translate that. Matt Campbell, again, I think this is his best team he has had. So I would take Iowa State, and if you're a betting guy, Kansas State favored by 3.5, go ahead and take that one because Iowa State, I think, is going to win that one outright. Kansas State, though, I think they'll be fine. Right now, I've got them only losing to Iowa State. I've got them going undefeated the rest of the season. I think they'll both wind up playing each other again in the Big 12 championship and then both making the playoff. Again, the only team I think that can realistically play with them is BYU, and they lost their quarterback. Other teams in the Big 12, you've got Arizona State, Texas Tech, Kansas, which we're going to talk about here in a second. Arizona State, I think they lost a little too much to be able to compete with these two teams. They've got their quarterback back, their receiver back, but losing Cam Scatterbo is going to be a big blow to that team. And then Texas Tech, we'll see. They've got a lot of transfer portal stuff coming in, but I haven't been super impressed with Joey McGuire, and Kansas is just way too up and down. I think these two teams right here are the most consistent. They both kind of went around that 8-10 range, these past few years. So I think they both get over the hump this year, make the playoff. All right, for the next week 0 game I want to talk about, it's going to be this one right here, Fresno State and Kansas, 5:30, on Fox. on Saturday, August 23rd. Let's pull up this matchup right here for you. This one I think is kind of intriguing because number one, Kansas really up and down year last year. They beat the good teams that they shouldn't beat, and they lost to the teams they shouldn't lose to. Fresno State, a little bit of a turnover here. They lost their quarterback, Mikey Keene. He's at Michigan now. Lost their head coach. They bring in North Dakota State's head coach, though. He has won 2 national championships at the FCF level, so I think they're going to be fine in the long run with him as the head coach. Now they bring in EJ Warner at quarterback, has multiple over 3,000 yard seasons, close to 3. Has been at Temple. He's been at Rice, Kurt Warner's son. Really gives you some downfield options that can really air it out and put up some good numbers. Kansas, though, they've got Daniels back. Can he stay healthy? That's the key here. If he can stay healthy, I think Kansas has got a legitimate chance this year to make some noise in the Big 12. But as far as this matchup here, Kansas favored by 13.5 right now. Is this on a neutral site? Let's see. No, it's in Kansas. That's going to be tough then for Fresno. First off, let's talk about Fresno. Like I said, you've got the coaching change, but the reason I think that they might be able to play with Kansas, this game right here, lost 30-10 to Michigan, and while that's not necessarily playing with them, Michigan is not Kansas. Like, Kansas is not going to be near as dominant in the trenches as Michigan was. And I know this is a new team for Fresno. You've got the new coach. You've got a lot of roster turnover. But if they can somewhat keep it close with Michigan, I think they can play with Kansas. And as up and down as Kansas is, I mean, you never know. As far as Kansas is concerned, let's look at their schedule last year. Like I said, a bit of an up and down year. They ended up costing some teams. All right, here you go. So, lost to Illinois. Illinois ended up being good, but these losses right here, this little run, UNLV, West Virginia, TCU, had no business losing those games. Arizona State, I'll give you a pass on, but they go ahead and beat Iowa State, BYU, and Colorado. Probably kept the Big 12 from having multiple teams in the playoff, because if they wouldn't have beat BYU, BYU would have been in. But you can see from that stretch right there with Iowa State, BYU, Colorado, and then playing with Kansas State and Arizona State, this team was pretty good last year as far as their upside, but they just weren't consistent enough. And eventually that comes back to bite you. But they've got Daniels back. His key, again, is he has been really inconsistent on the injury bug throughout his career. Gets hurt a lot. And if he can stay healthy, I think they've got a chance for a good season. Let's look at their schedule this year, actually. Well, I've got it pulled up. Let's see. So Fresno, Wagner, Missouri. At Missouri is going to be tough. You've got Tech, Kansas State, Iowa State. So you've got a pretty brutal schedule there. You avoid, I guess, BYU and Arizona State are the two better teams that they avoid somehow. But at Missouri is going to be brutal. But this game, again, I think Fresno can keep it competitive for a lot of it, but 13.5 at home for Kansas, I think they're going to be able to cover that. I think they'll win by about, kind of like how Michigan did last year, about 30-10 probably. Now, I think Kansas's defense is a lot more susceptible than Michigan's was as far as keeping that game close-ish, as far as how Michigan played last year. But Kansas, I think they'll be able to score on Fresno State, and I think their defense is fast enough that even if EJ Warner is pretty solid at quarterback, I don't think they're just going to be able to outrun Kansas down the field. So give me Kansas by about probably 20, I would say. Kansas, though, I think could have a good season, but I've got them probably like in the middle of the pack right now in the Big 12. But those are really the only two games that I want to focus on for Week 0, Iowa State and Kansas State. Week 1, a lot of juicy matchups. We'll get to that in a week or two. We'll preview that. But what are your thoughts on the Week 0 games? Iowa State, Kansas State. Who do you think wins that one and why? Also, do you think those teams can make the playoff? Let me know down in the comment section why. Fresno State, Kansas State. Do you see any upsets there on Week 0? Can Fresno State give Kansas a game? Let me know your thoughts. But this has been Week 0's preview. Again, I'll do Week 1. So if that sounds like something you might be interested in and you're not already, hit that subscribe button for me. But comment down below. Make sure to like this video and subscribe.